Close your eyes. Listen to Monday.com. Feel the sensation of an AI work platform. So flexible and intuitive, it feels like it was built just for you. Now open your eyes, go to Monday.com, start for free, and finally breathe.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone. And hey, before diving in to this episode, I have a quick favor to ask. If this podcast has helped you feel a little less alone and given you tools that actually work, would you take just 30 seconds to leave a review on Apple Podcasts? It really helps other moms find me. And trust me, there's a mom out there right now who needs to hear what we're talking about today, because today is a good one. Moms are told to just stay calm when kids push buttons. And when you lose it anyway, because who wouldn't, the shame spiral just starts. You might tell yourself, I'm a bad mom, or why can't I handle this? You're reacting to one thing, but it feels like you're reacting to everything. And I want to tell you right here that your reactions are not the problem. They're information. Big reactions don't mean you're broken. They just mean that you are overloaded. And oh my gosh, aren't we all right now? This isn't about more willpower. It's about understanding what's really happening underneath. So in this episode, we're covering why staying calm just doesn't happen in the moment, the 5 parts of emotional intelligence that once you understand them, they will really change how you react to situations, and what noticing your stress actually looks like in real life. So you can apply this right away to your own self and your own day-to-day. By the end, you'll understand why that big reaction you had that you feel so much shame and guilt over, why it makes perfect sense, and what to do about it before the next one happens. And with that, let's get on with the show. Most parenting advice starts with fixing kids' behavior. Like, that's the reason a lot of parents go for parenting advice. It's that their kids are doing something. Maybe it is talking back. Maybe it's not doing their homework. You know, the list goes on. And I'm sure you have sought out advice on one situation or another. But nobody really talks about what it costs you to hold it all together. And that's where the breaking point really is. I wanted to record this episode after a coaching call that we had in the No Guilt Mom Inner Circle last week. One of the things we do in coaching is it's always around a certain topic. And this is like a new change that I brought to the membership, and our members are really, really liking it. So this week it was about handling our own emotions, and more specifically, what do you do? How do you keep it in? How do you hold it together when your child ruins something incredibly expensive and lies about it? Have you been in that situation before? Oh my gosh, like my kids have ruined so many things. I could talk about a lot of them. There was one where in our old house, we had this Ethan Allen couch that my husband and I actually bought before we got kids. It was that stage in our life where we had money because we were working and we didn't have kids to spend it on. And so we're like, yeah, we'll buy a nice couch. Well, 6 years later, we have kids, and my daughter and her friends, this couch was set up right by the stairs. And the stairs was one of those sets of stairs where it went up like 10 steps, and then there was a landing, and then it turned the corner and went up 5 more. And so they would stand on the landing and they would jump off the landing onto the couch. And they do this over and over again. And what happened was that one of the back couch cushions, they were sewed on, and it just tore off the couch. There's this huge tear in the back of the couch. And me, I'm kind of under the assumption where I'm like, yeah, like that would totally be something that I do when I was a kid. Like, I'm that parent, like full stop. I am that parent. I'm like, yeah, you should go get up on that high thing and jump off. I think that's a really great idea. And I truly do think it's a really great idea because I used to do the same. And My husband wasn't that parent. He was so angry. He was the parent who lost it over that behavior. And I totally understand it because you want these really nice things. You want to surround yourself with nice things. And when kids come on and ruin it, that is like the break of this expectation you had for your own life and this vision you had for your own life. And then it's suddenly ruined. Who wouldn't lose it when something like that happened, right? And I want to know, when did staying calm become the standard for good parenting? Because what we are kind of taught to internalize as moms is that if we lose it, that somehow we're a bad mom. And that's just not true at all. Emotions are signals. They are telling us something needs to change in our lives, or they're telling us, like, do this thing again. And when we experience the emotion of anger, it means that there is something that happened that goes against our values, goes against what we want in our life, goes against our beliefs, and that's anger. So it makes sense when your child ruins something expensive that you have put into place, you're going to feel angry about it. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you a human. And the situation that we talked about in our inner circle was this mom had bought this beautiful bedspread for her daughter, and guys, slime came into the picture. It's funny. I laughed when I heard the slime because my sister-in-law has this huge thing against slime too. We, as horrible siblings, well, my husband towards his brother, like to buy our nephews presents that annoy the older. This year, actually, my husband bought a car for our nephew that drove up walls and onto ceilings and would randomly fall off the ceiling. And he's like, have fun to his brother. But one thing that we tried in the past with this, and guys, we're not even younger siblings. We're the older siblings. We're the older siblings taking payback on the younger siblings who tried to inflict this on us when we first had kids. So it's like, it's time, guys. It's time. But we tried this with slime, and my sister-in-law just does not like slime. And I know why. I've experienced many a slime stain. And if you've experienced slime stains too, you know those things don't come off. Like, no matter how much you scrub, no matter what solution you use, slime is on there for life. For life. And so her daughter was playing with slime. It got on the bedspread, and it's just on there forever. To top matters off, her daughter rearranged the stuffed animals in her bedroom and put one bear on top of the slime stain and said, oh, this is where this bear is going now. This is its new place. No, I'm not going to move it. No, Mom, don't move that. I think this was really revolutionary with the daughter. I think this is like prime kid thought process and creativity. I approve as a child of this, but it also can appear that there is lying taking place. And when we as parents feel like our kids are lying to us, that's a whole other shame spiral that develops. I'm sure you've had this too, because the thoughts start coming in that, why can't they trust me? Why are they hiding stuff from me? If they're hiding this from me, what else are they hiding from me? And so it takes a lot out of us when it's both lying and it is a behavior and it ruins something that we worked really, really hard to put in place. So what I want you to see is that losing your temper isn't a moral failure. It's a signal. It's a signal that something you value has been crossed. And all it means is listen to that signal, because it really tells you what you want in your life and what upsets you. Also, in that moment, it didn't just exist as one moment in time. Because there are times in your life where I'm sure you have ultimate patience. Maybe it's like after you come back from a massage and you're all relaxed and something's dropped on you, like, oh, like we're out of chicken and we can't make dinner, and you're able to handle it with ease, and you're like, no problem, we can pivot to this thing. And then there are other days where you've had so much conflict at work, you have a big project behind, your boss is on you for the littlest thing, and you come home and there's no chicken. You're like, what? No chicken? How could this happen? And just lose it. So you have different capacity at different times. And when you blow up, it's not just that one moment, it's everything leading up to that moment. When you're running on fumes, small things feel absolutely enormous. And that's not a you problem. That is a system problem. That is everything reacting with you. And when you understand that, it changes everything, because in the moment, you're able to be kinder to yourself. And we're going to talk about what that change sounds like right after this. For years, I avoided tracking my spending because every time I looked at where my money went, all I felt was shame. Like, why did I spend that much on groceries? I shouldn't have bought that. It was like a highlight reel of all my worst financial decisions. And that shame, it kept me stuck. I couldn't make any real progress toward my goals because I was too busy beating myself up about the past. Set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts, and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this year and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code NOGUILT. What changed everything for me was finding a tool that keeps me focused on where I'm going, not where I've been. Monarch shows me my savings goals, my debt payoff timeline, my whole financial picture in one place. So instead of dwelling on last month's mistakes, I'm actually planning ahead and watching myself get closer to real milestones. No shame, just progress. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. Okay, real talk. I have approximately 47,000 photos on my phone. I wish I was joking. And every year I tell myself, this is the year I'm going to do something with all of these memories. And then I don't, because who has time to sit there arranging photos into layouts for hours? Well, I finally did it. And I need to tell you about Journey Print because it was honestly so much easier than I expected. Here is what blew my mind. Their AI auto arranges your photos into this beautiful book in seconds. You upload your pictures from your phone and their smart algorithm organizes everything by date and location. It even adds maps. So my book isn't just random photos. It's actually the story of our year. I made this year in review book and flipping through it with my kids, seeing our trip to Paris last year, the first day of school where my daughter's a senior, and even just silly everyday moments, it hit me how fast this year went. And now we have this gorgeous, gorgeous book to hold on to because the quality is premium, like really nice satin paper. And they plant a tree for every order, which I love. Creating it took me maybe 15 minutes. That's it. No joke. Go to journeyapp.com/podcast/NGM and use code NOGUILT to get 30% off your next purchase. That's Journey spelled JOURNIAPP.com/podcast/NGM and use code NOGUILT at checkout.
This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But it's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI's not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. Their clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. They offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions that isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will find that their mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the healthcare they deserve. Because they believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized, insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
A lot of moms talk about they need to improve their emotional regulation. And I want to tell you that emotional regulation isn't just calming down in the moment like we talked about before. It's built on these 5 skills that most of us were never taught. And these are the things to understand when you really want to get a hold of your emotions. And it's called emotional intelligence. It was a theory that was first started by Daniel Goleman. It has 5 parts to be emotionally intelligent. And we're going to go through each of those 5 parts so you gain some understanding of what they are, because they really do all work together. Okay, the first part is self-awareness, recognizing what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. This is a pretty hard thing. If people grew up not recognizing their emotions or stuffing down their emotions, it's really hard to figure out what you're feeling in the moment. Individuals who are on the autism spectrum have a really difficult time with this. It's the interoception sense. It's the sense where you know your body sensations and what those sensations relate to. So, for example, when I say that, I know when I'm feeling the emotion of anger because my head tightens up. Sometimes even my face feels warm to the touch and my throat closes up. Like I feel anger in my body. And a lot of people who are on the autism spectrum don't recognize those signals and aren't able to connect it to emotions. So that is just something to keep in mind as you are out in the world and dealing with people and interacting with your kids. Just know that some people, and it doesn't matter if they're on the spectrum or not, but some people are able to recognize their emotions much easier than others. And I want to ask you the question: are you able to recognize your own emotions and name them? Are you able to recognize like where in your body you might feel excitement or joy and where in your body you might feel sadness? Like, how can you tell you're sad? It's interesting because when I first started my coursework for becoming an emotional intelligence coach, which I am, I'm certified in it, I really didn't pay much attention to those bodily signals of emotions. You know, you think of emotions as this abstract thing where, of course, like I'm sad, I cry, and it's so much more than that. There's so many more feelings. There's actually a really great app if you want to practice doing this. As I pull my cell phone out of my pocket right now, because this just occurred to me as I was recording the episode. The app is called How We Feel, and it is a free download from the App Store. And what it is as soon as I open the app, it asks me, how are you feeling this afternoon? And I tap this little plus mark to check in. And then it gives me 4 options. It's like high energy unpleasant, high energy pleasant, low energy unpleasant, low energy pleasant. And so right now, I mean, always while recording with you all, I'm high energy pleasant, always high energy pleasant. And then it gives me this list of emotions like in little yellow dots. And so I go through the emotions, and if I tap one, it gives me the definition. So if I say upbeat, feeling high energy and bubbly, yeah, totally upbeat right now, I can add that emotion to my journal and I can complete the check-in. And it's just like that. It's just being able to, in the moment, figure out, oh, this is the emotion I'm feeling. So check that out, How We Feel, totally free, if you want to gain a little more self-awareness of how you're feeling at each given moment, because self-awareness then leads in to self-regulation. So like emotional regulation, this is something I'm hearing so many moms tell me. I want to regulate my emotions. I need to regulate my emotions. And this emotional regulation, it doesn't exist in like a little bubble. It is the world interacting with you around you. And especially right now at this point in time where we are experiencing so much unrest in the world, particularly in the United States, that weighs on us, even if we don't live in cities like Minneapolis. Minneapolis, my heart is with you right now. Even if we don't live in the actual city where it's taking place, we see it in the news. It affects our nervous system. It affects our regulation. So just know that you don't exist in a little bubble. But the basis of self-regulation is managing your emotional triggers. Something I was listening to the other day, which I thought was really interesting, is that I believe it was in the book, The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, because that's the book I'm listening to on Audible right now. He was talking about how many universities are coming up against criticism from students' parents about upsetting material. And it's the same material that's been taught for years and years and years, but it's almost like the conscious of society has shifted to, instead of being challenged and recognizing like there are horrible things happening in the world, it's more about protecting themselves from getting triggered by just eliminating the triggers. And that is not self-regulation. Self-regulation is being able to manage those emotional triggers and redirect them. So remember at the start of this episode, I talked about using emotions as a signal. When you use self-regulation, you are able to feel your anger and redirect it so that you don't lose it on your boss and start yelling at them, which would result in a loss of your job, probably. You're able to redirect it into saying an emotional tirade into your phone while walking. I like it. It's called anger walks. You could just like be so angry and talk to yourself during a walk. I swear my neighbors must love me. Or you could, and a self-regulation thing I taught my son when he was really, really young, because he had a lot of anger at like 2-3 years old. He screams into a pillow, and that's a self-regulation technique. You're able to redirect those emotions. Self-esteem and self-confidence actually live under the self-regulation bubble because it's all about what you say to yourself and what you perceive of yourself. Those kind of thoughts tend to amp us up. For example, when you tell yourself, I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad mom is a sign that your self-esteem is low. And just telling yourself those words doesn't make you feel good, right? You probably feel even crappier when you say, I'm a bad mom. The trick is being able to recognize when you say that to yourself. So you're able to change the dialogue into something that is more productive and helpful to you. For example, instead of I'm a bad mom, you don't say I'm a good mom, because your system doesn't believe that. You've been saying I'm a bad mom for so long, you can't just switch it. But what might be possible to say is, I'm trying the best I can. I had a really hard day. I've dealt with a lot today, and this totally makes sense why I'm reacting this way. Might be a little more possible. So we talked about self-awareness. We talked about self-regulation as those two components in emotional intelligence. The third is motivation. It's about your internal drive and how you stay motivated. That is an example of being emotionally intelligent. So like even when you're exhausted, this is remembering why you want to show up differently, even on the hard days. Motivation is a subject that we can like put into parts and talk about on this podcast a lot if you want to, but I'm just going to shortly mention it here. The fourth is empathy, which is huge when talking about this subject of staying calm around our kids. The reason is most of us, when we're angry, we assume the intentions behind the other person. We assume, for instance, that our child is lying to us, or that they are doing this to us to get a rise out of us. Like these are all assumptions that most adults make. And it's not your fault that you're making these assumptions and going there. You've had them modeled for you for years and years and years from other adults in your life, okay? That is one thing that we know here in No Guilt Mom Land, is that we do not exist in a vacuum. The reasons for our thoughts and opinions are taken from around us and learned. But when we talk about empathy, it's thinking about, is there another reason for this behavior? Is there another reason that our child is covering up the slime stain? And some things that we were able to think about in the coaching call were, she's probably scared about getting in trouble. Yeah, I remember lying when I was a kid because I was scared about getting in trouble. She might be scared about losing that connection with the parent because kids, they don't want to lose their connection with you. You're so important to them. You provide them everything, everything. So if a little kid thinks that they've done something wrong, they're not going to fess up to it because they don't want that connection between you and them to be severed, which totally makes sense. And is also the reason why authoritarian parenting, which is the my way or the highway kind of parenting, like you do what I say or else, why that tends to break down in the teenage years, because teenagers become more and more self-sufficient and they don't need that connection as much. That's food for thought right there. It's a reason why most teenagers rebel. They don't need the connection. So if they're treated in a certain way, they'll be like, you know what? Forget it. It's sad at the same time, but remember, this is information. This is information. If you feel some shame there, it's okay. It's information. We're going to move on with it. But having that empathy and knowing what the other person is feeling and knowing what your child is feeling in the moment can really help you regulate your emotions. And then the fifth is social skills. That's the fifth part of emotional intelligence. And that is knowing how to repair, knowing how to communicate your emotions, knowing how to stay connected, knowing how to apologize so that your child believes it and you're able to move on from it. So the 5 parts of emotional intelligence we talked about that really help. Remember, the regulation doesn't live in a vacuum. They are the self-awareness, that's self-regulation, the motivation, empathy, and knowing those social skills. And these 5 skills, they aren't about being perfect. They are a practice. They're about building that awareness so you have more choices. One of the things, like, we really concentrate on the No Guilt Mom Inner Circle in terms of learning is those social skills, because those are skills that we didn't necessarily learn as kids. They weren't taught to us by the adults around us. So learning them now affects our entire life and all of our relationships. So I want you to pay attention to where these 5 parts of emotional intelligence show up in your life, especially when you're trying to stay calm in the moment and you're thinking about that self-awareness stage and the self-regulation stage. And then maybe repair afterwards with the social skills stage and the empathy you need to have for your kids. And coming up next, we're going to talk about what you can do to help that self-regulation and self-awareness so that you don't blow up. And that's coming up right after this. When I was an elementary school teacher, I saw firsthand how beautifully different every kid is. Some thrived working independently, others lit up during in-depth projects, and others excelled in completely different ways. And the best part, when kids get to learn in the way that works for them, amazing things happen. And that's exactly why so many families are turning to K-12 powered schools. These are tuition-free, online accredited public schools for kindergarten through 12th grade. And if the traditional classroom isn't a perfect fit for your child, K-12 can help them thrive. K-12 knows that every student learns differently, whether your child needs more flexibility or an education that's more personalized. K-12 will give them the support they need. Students learn at their own pace with curriculum tailored to meet their goals, needs, and interests, all taught by state-certified teachers who are trained in online education with hands-on, innovative technology that makes learning interactive. K-12 has more than 25 years experience helping students gain the skills they truly need to thrive in the future, and it could be perfect for your child too. Join the more than 3 million families who have been served by K-12 and empower your student to reach their full potential now. You can make the switch at any time. Go to k12.com/ngm today to learn more. That's the letter K, the number 12.com/NGM. K12.com/NGM.
We all have those nightmare scenario moments that make your heart race. When you're lying in bed and realize you didn't lock the front door, or you've left for the day and remember the stove is still on. Or even worse, you get home to find that someone's broken a window. ADT understands how unsettling it is to feel unsafe at home or unprepared for an emergency. That's why they're here, for the moments when every second counts. With customizable security systems that keep watch 24/7, with the most company-operated monitoring centers in the industry, with technology that enables first responders to send help even faster. And because they understand how important your space is to you, their ADT Plus app allows you to check in on your home from virtually anywhere, so you can rest easy knowing that everything's okay. ADT helps make sure your home is your haven, not another thing to worry about. Visit ADT.com or call 1-800-ADT-ASAP. When every second counts, count on ADT.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
So it's fun to talk about emotions in theory. I don't know. Anyone else? Does anyone else like talking about the theory of emotions? Because I am down with it all day long. But really, we here at the No Guilt Mom podcast, we want to get super practical about how we apply these things. One of my huge philosophies about learning is that as soon as I learn something, I want to put it into action right away. Because that's the way I get that learning cemented in my brain. It's like I have to feel myself doing it to actually remember to do it. Are you like that too? Like, how do you learn? I'm really interested to know. But what I want to talk about in this last section is, remember how we say that being calm in the moment just doesn't exist. Think about your patience like an empty garbage can. When you wake up in the morning after the most fantastic sleep and you stretch and you look outside and the sun is just shining through your window and it's beautiful day. It's a little bit warm, not too hot, not frigid cold like it is right now for most of the United States. But it's just wonderful. And you wake up in this glorious mood, and maybe your husband or your partner or your Keurig or your Nespresso makes you a cup of coffee, and you just sit there with your cup of coffee before your child comes in, and your child asks you, is like, "Mom, I can't find my shoes." Okay, think about how you react in that moment. You're probably like, "Okay, let's go find your shoes." And you're as patient as can be. Now let's think about the other scenario. You didn't sleep well because your dog decided to go out every half hour outside because she stole food from the dining room table the other night. And so your body is exhausted getting out of bed. And not just that, but it is like cloudy and rainy outside and so bitterly cold. I mean, you don't even want to step out, like take off your blankets. You want to stay there in bed, but you look at the clock and you are already half an hour late. You still have to take a shower. You still have to do your hair. You still have to do your makeup. And your child comes in and asks, "Mom, I can't find my shoes." How are you going to react? There's going to be such a difference between calm morning and frazzled morning, right? So I want you to think of that like an empty garbage can. When you wake up and everything's going well, that garbage can stays empty. But when you wake up and everything starts going wrong, it starts filling up and filling up and filling up. And pretty soon you're overflowing and you just lose it. It happens. But what we want to think about in terms of strategy and being prepared, not losing it in the moment, is what are some signs that you're close to overflow? What are some signs that, oh my gosh, if one more thing happens, I'm going to lose it? In that scenario with getting out of bed, my sign would be my aching body. If my body hurt, people get ready. It is not going to be calm Joanne day. It is going to be grumpy Joe day. But noticing that sign means that I need to take a little care of myself and step back a little bit. It could be looking at my calendar and seeing what meetings I can cancel so that I could get a little more rest. It could be talking with my husband and saying like, hey, can you take dinner tonight? Or hey, can you be in charge of ordering DoorDash tonight so that I don't have to cook? It's that intentionally taking things off my plate so that I can handle the rest of the day. And you might be listening right now and you're like, Joanne, I can't do that. And I know it's a very, very foreign thing because we as women have been told that we should be able to do it all and not ask for any help whatsoever. And believe me, getting to this point of actually asking for help was a hard one. I had to go through a lot of not asking for help and having just complete failure of my emotions, huge blow-ups with people, blow-ups with my husband, blow-ups with my kids that I just felt awful for. But when I had those, and maybe you've had those too by now, and you hear that, hey, I have permission to reduce my workload and the stuff that I have that's being demanded of me when I notice that I'm not going to be able to handle that very well that day. It's okay. It's okay. I also know that like when I get my period, I need to take some things off my plate and I need to ask for help because that is pure grumpy Joe road right there. So asking for help is one of the things you can do when you notice that pressure starts building. Something else that you can do is to cultivate that self-compassion. There's a No Guilt Mom podcast episode with Dr. Kristen Neff, who is the originator of self-compassion. And when you're talking about self-compassion, it's opposite of self-criticism. We've been told to kind of like critique all of our little weaknesses, right? It's like if you don't do something good enough, like if you don't go exercise, you're like, oh, I should have gone and exercised. I am so lazy. And we're used to getting in that frame of mind. Self-compassion instead is recognizing three things. The first thing is I'm hurting in this moment. So when you don't go exercise, you're disappointed in yourself in this moment, and that disappointment hurts. The second part of self-compassion is knowing that anyone else in your situation would feel the same way you do, this disappointment, this hurt, and that the reason that you didn't go exercise is probably due to a lot of other factors than just one choice you made in the moment. Maybe it was cold. Maybe you couldn't find your exercise gear. Maybe your kids woke you up tons of times last night and you were just too tired to get out of bed. And then the third part of self-compassion is giving yourself that comfort, that like hug, that wrapping yourself in a blanket that I like to tell my husband, I'm like, I'm tired. And he just wraps me in a big hug because he is a big guy. He's 6'3" to my 5'9". So he makes me feel tiny and that helps calm me down and that helps comfort me. So when I go and seek that out, it helps me. So cultivate that self-compassion. And then the third thing is to focus on your strengths and celebrate your wins. Do this on a regular basis. In our No Guilt Mom Circle, we have a journal which has a space each day to mark your wins. And when you go through this and just naming things that could be wins, you don't have to feel like it's a big win. You just look back at your day and you're like, that was a positive thing right there. Okay, that's going to be my win. When you do that, your brain starts looking for more things that are wins. You're training your brain with that. And when you train your brain with the wins, you're not so focused on all the things you did wrong. You can see that you're actually a pretty great person. You're pretty cool. You're awesome. And that helps shield you and helps you not react as strongly to your triggers. It helps you stay self-regulated. So self-regulation, it starts with that self-awareness. Knowing that you feel the feeling at that time, knowing that the pressure's building. And if you don't do something to relieve it, you're going to blow up. Self-awareness starts with paying attention to what's happening inside you. And that is not selfish. That is preventive care. It's like going to the checkup with a doctor. So thank you so much for joining me with this episode today. If I could ask you just to take 30 seconds and leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, I would so appreciate it. And if this landed, also please share with a mom who needs to hear it, because we're all in this together. And when we feel like we're not alone, it helps us. It helps us ride the storm of whatever's going on in our lives. So remember, the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you. I'll talk with you later.
This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But it's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI's not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. Their clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. They offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions that isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will find that their mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the healthcare they deserve. Because they believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized, insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.